Hey there, good morning. It's by their calendar and their dates, this would be what? 1/3/2023, right? So as soon as I get up this morning, um, actually it started yesterday when I realized that the guy upstairs um, was willing to knock $100 off the rent. In other words, this next month, which would be now, back on a particular date. Okay? So when you go look at that date was 1/7, and the amount requested was 100, which is really one, because then you have two zeros, right? He's in a black hole. Okay. Now, how does this apply to sort of like current events? One of the things that I monitor, because sports, the showman, the salesman, right? The Roman arena, the amusement parks, loose bins, as I call them, or football games. Anywhere there's big arenas, basketball stadiums, and they're designed in a very particular way. But in this particular case, a number of things that you notice because you're looking at the changes that are occurring over the events between past, present, and future, which you can calculate as numbers between the simple arithmetic calculator. So they're AI war gamers, which means they're running number games, which are called shell games, because you have to read and translate the codes, which are the numbers. Okay, because they live in a black hole. They accumulate and they accumulate and they accumulate. So when you think of architects that plan future movie sets, that others are simply not aware because they're not awake of it, which means their state of awareness just is not aware of how they run these numbers using the words or letters gematria. GE, like General Electric, tria, 3, right? So they know that we're not a trinary hub server. They know what a trinary hub server is, and they know what server D is, but a lot of people don't. It's a simple calculator of being able to balance out your energy. So you have the difference between energy givers and energy accumulators. Well, where does the energy accumulation come from? Us. So now we get into the balance of the poles and the balance of the energy debts or energy accounts. Anna von Reitz did a superb job of breaking down how that works, actually, through their corporate fiction. Because what's a corporation? It's a fiction. It's a dead entity, so you know that it's dead light. Okay? So something that is dead is feeding on something that is living, which is a living spirit with a soul. Okay? So what they do is they choreograph events the same way that you choreograph a movie or a chorus. Sound and light. Right? So they stage these events in order to harvest energy. In this case, electrons, electronic numbers that go in the other direction. So one of the ways that you notice the changes that are taking place is how they increased and do certain things for reasons in which to do exactly that, because they realize they're living on borrowed energy, because they represent finite energy, finite light, because it's dead light. So what happens is that you notice, for example, it used to be back when I grew up, there were only what were known as bowl games, particularly during Santa down the chimney. These are very ritualistic, how do I put it, days, or when the sun comes up and goes down when you're in the winter solstice. Okay? So this is very much tied to the energy, and the energy that represents numbers. So they're playing an energy game with the mind's energy. So what they were doing over time was they increased the number of B-owl games. B-owls. Anyone that knows anything about owls know that they're vicious nighttime predators. That would be your Moloch, right? So as they're increasing the amount of bowl games. I mean, it almost got ridiculous if you've ever followed college football, high school football, and professional football. The games they play, because that's what they are. They're gamers. They're AI war gamers through artificial light, deadlight intelligence. Okay, so what I was following was all the different bowl games on the days in which those bowl games occur. And then you look at the number of the jerseys, and then you look at the numbers that occur between the clock. Okay, so in other words, the game of football, for example, is a 60-minute clock. And you have two goalposts, which represent H, which is hydrogen. That's why they kick a spiral football horizontally through the uprights to split the H, right? Electron, proton, mother arc of a proton. X side, right? Male side, male dominance, king, dom, right? Now you're back to the steeple, the church bells, which are the church balls, and the rest of that, okay? So as the bowl games were increasing, you could see why they were doing that, because this is all about accumulation of energy because they realize they're running out of it. How is that possible? Because as people are waking up, they're no longer giving them energy and choosing not to be accountable. In other words, the level of perception or separation between what they are and what we are is increasing. That has a boomerang effect. So what that means is they're starving for energy. And as they keep starving for energy, they realize, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's like a snake eating its tail until it's consuming itself, because it's not getting its energy anymore from those of us that are not giving any more energy to experience what it is that they are because of what they represent. Because the increase in the amount of energy or fire that we're experiencing now as a result of all the powerful energy that's coming through the sun gate, which is why I do the work that I do here, is why they're choreographing all this. So what they did last night that I woke up to was Monday Night Football, Monday, was here's a young man, athlete, who's 24 years of age, that they stopped the football game. This is Monday Night Football is one that has, in terms of viewership, used to have, I haven't looked at it recently, one of the highest amount of people that are using their consciousness to experience this game, an AI game. They're gamers. And they've never stopped a football or postponed a football as a result of an injury on the field. The player would be removed from the field. Somebody would come up and take their place, right? That's always been the way they did it in the past. But one of these journalists that runs a TV show for Fox noted that they've never done that before, because this young man who's like in his early 20s, right, supposedly in excellent physical condition, goes down on a play. And see, these are actually done at very specific times on the clock in which they perform these events. And so the next thing you know is an ambulance comes onto the field, and it's reported that's never happened before. Usually they put a player up on a stretcher, or maybe put them off on a little cart, but to pull the ambulance up to where the line of scrimmage was, right, or is. And what happened that they said happened, right, because there's no direct evidence that it's true. You have to believe whether or not these liars, these psychopaths, whether it really happened. But apparently the man had a heart attack, a cardiac arrest. They stopped the game. Now it's postponed, right? Oh. So now this is what I call milking. They're going to milk their viewership and their fans. See, now you know what they're doing? They're asking for donations. Give us your money. Give us your energy. Give us your electrons. That's what they do. And it is not a coincidence that it happens on day 3. Why is that? Because on day 3 in the United States of America is when people get their Social Security. Right? And those are numbers. Have a great day. Bye now.